Ooh, that looks tasty.
Welcome, folks. Today, the Hungry Gamer is back with the first monthly menu of 2023, and we are actually this year going to actually be on the month-to-month, although it wouldn't be a monthly menu without some little hiccup there. And this monthly menu actually includes just about the last week of December. That's because I had to record my final end of the year wrap-up before I went on a vacation to visit some family. So there was 1 week left over, and I just wanted to get that included. So this is a month and a week right here. So let's jump right into it. I only had one prediction of what I was going to play, and that was The List. And yes, I did. We did, I should say. We actually knocked 2 games off of it, and 2 longer games, I must say. We did a game of Dungeon Alliance, which, as you know, is one of my favorite dungeon crawls, period. And I played it once with my wife last year, and she liked it enough that I thought, well, why don't we come back in? We'll do it again. And we started one of the adventure packs, and one of the adventure packs that I had not played before. So I'm very, very excited about that. Had a great time. It's still a long game. Yeah, it's still a long game, but man, it is satisfying. We just take an afternoon on a weekend and we just go through it. And it'll take 3 hours or 2.5 hours, but it's just fantastic. The next one was Hellboy, and this was one where I have my former Gloomhaven, then Jaws of the Lion group. We come together, and we moved on because we finished Jaws of the Lion and we moved on to Wander the Cult of Barnacle Bay. But sadly, one of the members couldn't come down, so we did a last minute audible, so we pulled out Hellboy. And the great thing about Hellboy is it's all one-offs. Somebody's created some kind of campaign you can do, but I'm not interested for that. It's just one-offs, and we jumped in. I got to use some of the expansions that I had not used before. We pulled some characters out of the new content that I got from Kickstarter, got way too much stuff, and really had a good time. Great one-off dungeon crawl style game. Now, moving into the most played games of that 5-week period. And so coming in at number 5 is one that I actually have a video coming up about it next week, and it just squeaked in over this past weekend. It squeaked in because it just did not leave my table, and that is Aventuria, the adventure card game. And this is a game that is reminiscent of a Sentinels of the Multiverse in that each character has their own unique deck, and also reminiscent of the Pathfinder adventure card game from a couple years ago, in that you're kind of following a little bit of a story as you're going through, and you do have the ability to carry stuff over from game to game if you want to kind of level up your characters. And also it uses a combination of dice and cards like the Pathfinder adventure card game does. But all in all, I'm really high on this one. I really liked it. They have a new Kickstarter coming, which is why they sent me the core box, and I'm 100% going to be picking up not everything. I don't need everything. Hungry, you do not need everything. But I'm going to pick up a good chunk of stuff just to add to the experience because I've really, really enjoyed it. It has a really fascinating mechanic for how you power yourself up, how you use your energy each round, how you get your energy, and it makes for very tense, challenging decisions. Very, very cool. Number 4 on the list is Monasterium. And this is one that I got to play a max player account game for the first time. I played 3 players. I'd never played 4. I got to play a max player account game for the first time. And I got the new expansion in, which, well, it's not new. It's an old expansion, a mini expansion. I got to play with that a few times. I finalized the initial thoughts for my own solo mode that I put together for Monasterium because I like it enough. Played that several times, and it's dry. A friend of mine described it as it's one of those beige Euros, and even the theme is beige, which is not exactly true, but it's fairly themeless, but the mechanics are so good, so interesting. I really dig this game, and I actually have the official solo mode. I didn't know there was an official solo mode because it wasn't published yet, but from the designer, and so that's cool as well. Right now, my solo's out there. It's completely different. You can get a hold of that if you want to check it out until the official one comes out at some point. My number 3 is one that I just recently put up a video about, and that is Dungeon Universalis. And this is one that you're not going to hear about from me for a while, because this is another one of those big dungeon crawls, another one of those big campaigns that I take it out, it stays on the table, and I play, and I play, and I play. And I just put up a video, you can check it out, a very cool game. It does some very, very neat stuff with overland exploration and the way that you can kind of pick and choose what rule sets you're going to put into the game. And it has a rule for everything, and because of that, you get to kind of customize the amount of immersion you want into the game, which just great. And I've never played a game before. I'm like, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to put this rule in instead. Put this rule in instead, because it's really kind of made as a system. Just very, very cool, very unique, and definitely deserves the plaudits that it gets from fans of the game. And in fact, I also just recently backed on Kickstarter a campaign for little acrylic tokens that just kind of lay flat that have monsters on it, because the game is really miniatures agnostic. I'm using my miniatures from Dungeon Universalis, and right now I just have some tokens that say, bandit or, humanoid or whatever on the top, and I use those rather than to kind of deal with the millions of standees. So I'm looking forward to that. Very cool game. Number 2 is the Magnificent. And this is one that is constantly on sale. It's always on sale. And I finally picked it up because it was on sale and because it was created by the same people who made Revive. And this is a really good game. It's really, really good. I don't know if I like this or Revive better. What this has going for it is it's very, very fast. But you're running a circus, and it is dice placement, and not really dice placement, dice selection, and then you use that, you activate an ability, and you go. And the color and the number of pips on the die matter with the 3 different things you're trying to do. Are you putting up your tents at your circus? Are you traveling with the circus? Or are you performing with the circus? And it's just very clean, streamlined, and clever. And I'm doubly excited about this. So this didn't quite make it onto my picks for next month, so I'll say it now, but Canadian Kev is coming to visit for a while, and he was able to pick up for me a copy of the Snow expansion, which is pretty hard to find for the Magnificent. So I'm excited to get to play that and kind of experience what that is. And that brings me to my number 1 most played game. And this one was it really was a surprise to me. And it was a surprise to me because this is one that I backed on Kickstarter because I was interested in it. And I didn't play it for almost, 7 months. I just didn't play it, and I didn't play it because it arrived before the expansion. The designer was very clear. So look, the expansion fixes issues with the original game. Please do not play this game without the expansion. So I wound up waiting like 2 more months for the expansion to show up. How that happened to Kickstarter, I don't know. But it's a relatively small box. So I took it with me. The only real hobby game I took with me on vacation, and I took it out a lot, and that is Crisis at Steamfall. And this is a game that's co-op or competitive, where you are building out your own little action tableau. It's just an action selection game. You're going to pick one of these different selections. You pick one of these various little columns on your player board that you can do, and it's going to let you move or change your mood or interact with something or whatever. But as you're going through, you're going to be building those up however you want. You'll be spending the currency that you pick up, and then you get to add to the columns to make them more and more powerful as you're moving around the board, and either pandemic style crisis management, trying to stop things from happening while you slowly get your way towards the win condition, or you're competing with other players to get things to fulfill various victory conditions that are kind of hidden around the board. I don't have any games like it. I have nothing like it, and both the competitive and the cooperative are very satisfying to do. And part of this is because there's 4 different scenarios, ways you can play the game, and what really works about it is with each one, the character that you pick, which is completely asymmetric, the character that you pick will have different abilities depending on which type of game that you are playing. You're playing the easiest competitive, you're going to have 1 card, which is 1 special ability that you can activate. If you're playing the other competitive, you're going to have 2 cards, and neither of those cards is the card you had for the other one. And actually I take that back. In one of the competitive scenarios, you actually have a whole stack of cards that you're kind of going to be building through and flipping throughout the game. It's very, very clever. It works very, very well. And I'm a little bit obsessed with it. So much so that I reached out to the designer and I said, I've been playing this. I've been enjoying this, and I realize I made a mistake. I like this game enough that I'm mad I didn't get the miniatures, and he was nice enough that he actually sent me the miniatures, so I'm going to get those painted up in the process of painting them, and I'm looking forward to making some content, featuring my mediocrely painted minis. But very cool game. I think this is one that not many people have heard about, have talked about, and I think it's one that's a bit of a sleeper. Now, that brings us into the first picks of the month. First one, obviously, the list. See what happens. The next one is going to be Too Many Bones, and I'm excited to play Too Many Bones. One, because Canadian Kev is going to be visiting, he loves Too Many Bones, but I got the latest, the final character, Riffle. Excited to try it out, see what happens. Next is Revive, and as I said, I almost put the Magnificent on there, but I went with Revive instead, and 6 One Way, Half a Dozen Another. Both cool games, they're very different from each other. Same designers, but there is one more scenario in the story of Revive that I haven't played yet. I haven't unlocked those things, and I'm curious just to kind of see how that plays. And it's such a cool game. I really like Revive a lot. My number 2 is one that I just put a video out on Tuesday, and that is Catharsis. This is one that really surprised me. I was a little turned off by the size of the box. It was so big. Like, I don't know if I want to deal with this huge thing. And it's just tiny, well, they're big cards, but just decks of cards and what's going on. Is it taking up too much of it? Just a cool game. It gives me vibes of One Deck Dungeon and Dice Throne Adventures and a little tiny bit of Too Many Bones, all kind of mixed in, Yahtzee style mechanic, and it's good. It is good. And it's got a Kickstarter going right now, and definitely want to play more of that. And then the last one is one that I've waited years for. Years. And then suddenly it was here. And that is Tanaris Adventures, which is the full-on huge campaign for Arena the Contest. And if you remember, Arena the Contest made my top 10 dungeon crawl games, and I played through the campaign, and I put it aside, and I waited, because Arena the Contest was really designed to be a competitive game, an arena fight, but they had not a tacked on, because it was a pretty long and I thought very good campaign system as well. But they've taken that, they've expanded the mechanics, they've huge story that's in there, new characters, I've been painting those up, and again, Canadian Kev's coming, so it's going to be sitting out on the table. We're going to be playing a lot of it. I'm really, really looking forward to it. So, there you have it, folks. That is the monthly menu and the picks. As always, in the monthly menu, this is my time to say, please consider becoming a channel member. You can do it for 99 cents a month. Really, this is something that helps me get more games. I don't get sent all the games. I do buy some of these games, and sometimes you ask me to cover something, and I'll go seek it out. It also allows me to, when I need new equipment, to get new equipment, and I use it to go to cons. And flights aren't cheap. Airbnbs and hotels aren't cheap, and it just helps me do that to allow me to continue making content as I do. And I do want to make a point to thank our channel members, being Dead Alive Games, Original Don, and the aforementioned Canadian Kev. We'd love to have some more people in there. Some fun little perks. Mostly you get to see videos early, and if you want to come in at the top level, well, there's some really cool stuff there too. All right, everybody. As always, if you found this video useful, please like, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.